Welcome into the Bassmaster Studios, and we've been doing all these since our quarantine break. A lot of Skypes with our Elite Series pros, and we're getting to know some of the ones that have busted onto the scene and we don't have a lot of experience with. And one of those guys today is Mr. Wes Logan, Elite Series rookie. Wes, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here and good to hear from you, Ronnie.
So, Wes, you are entering your first year on the Bassmaster Elite Series. You got one event under your belt, the St. Johns River, a pretty solid event for you, but walk me through the last 1 year, the last year of your fishing career. Obviously, you have fished professionally on the FLW Tour and things in the past, but qualifying for the Elites through the Opens and then deciding to make that jump, what was that like in 2019 for you?
The 2019 fishing season was kind of a whirlwind for me. Like you said, I was on the FLW Tour, and it was my sophomore season over there, and I decided to fish the Opens, obviously. And, you know, like every FLW tournament, like I'm not going to say bad stuff would happen, but just bad luck and just unfortunate circumstances. I'd lose a fish here, lose a fish there, and just wouldn't have a good tournament. And then I would turn right around and go to an Open, and like just magical things would happen, stuff that wasn't supposed to happen. I'd catch a random 5-pounder right here. I'd be running down the lake and just look over the bank and say, well, I'm going to pull over there, and I'd catch a 4-pounder. I mean, just stuff like that. And it happened in every single Open tournament. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I ended up winning the Angler of the Year points over there. It was just a blessed season and was fortunate to qualify for the Elites. And, I mean, that's a lifelong dream for me, so I just took it and ran with it.
Was it one of those debating, you know, financially it's hard for some guys to make that jump. Guys have full-time jobs and whatnot. For you, when you fished the Opens, that was your intention, was probably to make the Elites, or was it to make the Classic? And then qualifying for the Elites, I mean, you just, no doubt, accepting it no matter what obstacles were in your way.
You know, when I signed up for the Opens, me and a real good friend here at the house, Kyle Dorsett, we decided we were going to room together, and it honestly never crossed my mind that I was trying to make the Elite Series. I just knew that if me and him traveled across the country together, that we would make some checks, make some money, and, I mean, do really well in the tournaments. But, again, it never crossed my mind that I would make the Elites until probably the Wisconsin tournament, which was the third tournament in the Central Division. But going back to the financial part of it, I mean, I knew that if I did qualify, like halfway through the season, I said, well, if I make it, I'm going to go, because the first 2 years on the FLW Tour side, I didn't have any sponsorship help. I was paying out of pocket. I was paying check by check. If I made a check at a tournament, I was going to be able to fish the next one. So the financial part was I was going to find a way to pay for it, whether it be having to work at nights or work wherever I had to make some money. But I was going to go if I made it.
Well, that's a dangerous combo, traveling on the Bassmaster Opens, Kyle Dorsett and you, Wes Logan. I know Kyle Dorsett from a final Open, I believe, in 2018 at Logan Martin. He made the final day and had a chance to win that event. I got to cover him. He's obviously done really well in the Bass Nation, making the Classic there. So for you two to pair up, what's that like working with someone? You guys probably have similar goals. I think when I talked to Kyle at that time, he wasn't really necessarily interested in being a pro, but it probably didn't take long for him being around you for you guys to both decide, hey, let's try to both go do this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's from a local standpoint and even a national standpoint, he's one of the best all-around anglers I've ever been in a boat with. I mean, his natural decision-making just on the fly, like he'll just swap stuff up in an instant. And I think that's what makes him so good. And just fishing with him and talking with him and rooming with him, he can figure it out, a whole lake, I mean, within a day and a half. And, you know, me and him are real good buddies with Scott Canterbury. We all kind of run together. They're a little bit older than me, but they've taught me pretty good. But just getting to work with those type of guys have really helped me, you know, move up the ladder and learn the things I have in such a quick manner.
Well, and that's what I was just about to touch on. You're not that old of an angler, and I kind of got exposed to you at Lake Ouachita when you were leading the Forest Wood Cup going in the final day, and I was like, who is this guy, this young kid wearing basically a white T-shirt on the final day of a big event, leading it, having a chance to win, and this guy's got to be something special. And so talk to me a little bit about where Wes Logan was a couple years ago and your journey to the Elite Series now. Because sometimes some people have a long 20-year journey. Some guys have been pros for a long time. But you kind of came out of nowhere and hit it big and then and made the Elites pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I've been real fortunate to have a bunch of people around me that fish and them that wanted me to succeed, even when I was younger. I mean, growing up fishing tournaments with my dad and my uncle and my granddad, they really, I mean, taught me everything I know, gave me the opportunity, gave me a boat to go fishing. They drive me to the lake before I could even drive, and they just put me in and let me fish for the day and then come back and pick me up. But starting out, I had a little bit of success locally. I won a few BFLs around the house, and there was a couple of, I wouldn't say rumors, but people just talking that, oh, well, he's just good on this lake and he's just good on that lake. And I think that really kind of motivated me to, when I would go off and try and learn stuff at new lakes, that it was just kept driving me to prove people wrong, that I can actually catch them away from, around the house, a lake here and a lake there, that I can really catch them regionally. And then when I had a little bit of success there, I just kind of ran with it again.
Well, you've jumped into the sponsor game, like you talked about. You fished a couple years as a pro without really any sponsors, and now you've been dynamic in the first couple years or a couple months of you being an Elite Series pro. I've watched you grow a YouTube channel and whatnot. Is that something that you knew that you needed to do, and you might as well start it right now? And then it's kind of worked out, even though we have this unexpected break. It's given you time to kind of grow that and continue to do stuff while maybe other people are just sitting around waiting for the next tournament. You're doing and staying active and being as smart as you can, but still growing your social media, your content, and working with sponsors.
Right. I think I was a little bit late on the game as far as being a huge YouTuber, like Brian Latimer or Scott Martin, where they've got the huge following on YouTube, the people that want to see their content, that many people. But the main reason I started the YouTube and I've been doing the work I have been on the social media is just to be able to show the sponsors that what you can prove or what you can show to them on all different levels. You've got YouTube, now you've got that group of people you can show stuff to. You've got the Facebook people, the Twitter people, the Instagram. You just want to have as many platforms as you can to be able to show your sponsors that you can connect to this group of people, that group of people, and so on.
So we've got a good crop of Elite Series rookies this year and a couple of great newcomers that have been seasoned pros forever. Two guys stand out to me, and they're two that I've got the chance to talk to in conversations, and that's Kyle Welcher and you. And you guys aren't too far away from each other, on the map regionally. What makes that region of Alabama so great? The Coosa River, the Tallapoosa River, the Tennessee River, that probably within an hour and 15 minutes circle, that area of Alabama just seems to kick out a bunch of pros. Is it just because you guys are fishing as much as you can against great competition every day of the week? What is the deal with what's in the water in Alabama?
I think it's got a lot to do with what you just, said. Is we have access to all these lakes that are just within an hour or two from us. And then you've got having the opportunity to go to all those lakes, they're different type of lakes. You've got a Smith Lake, you've got a Garnersville, you've got the Coosa River. But another thing is the local competition around here is second to none. I mean, there's guys that fish locally around here that could easily make the Elite Series if they had the opportunity, if they had the money, if they didn't have families to have to take care of. I mean, I could name probably 10 or 12 just off the top of my head that I think could really make it if they had the opportunity. So fishing against those guys every other weekend growing up, that helps a lot.
So, Wes, if you had to give, there's fans tuned into Facebook right now, and they're probably wanting to know, some of the people up north are just getting their ice off their lakes and they're getting out there trying to fish. The guys down south, some are in different phases of the spawn. I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me 2 or 3 baits that you've got to have on your front deck right now, this time of year, that early to mid-April time period. You can even break it up and do south or north, whatever you want. But give me 2 or 3 baits that you're gonna have on your front deck at all times this month.
I think, and this goes for, I would say, South, Midwest. Your Oklahoma lakes, all the way across any lake that doesn't have ice on it or frozen over. Obviously, you're going to have some fish that are in all phases of the spawn. Probably the first bait that I'm going to have, and this isn't going to be a surprise to anybody, I'm going to have a swim jig on, a dirty jig, snow jack swim jig. And I like the swim jig more for post-spawn and pre-spawn fish. I'm not a big believer in it when the fish are actually spawning because you get a lot of just short strikes and they really don't want to get the bait. But it does show you some fish. The second bait I like to use in the early April, mid-April, most of the fish are going to be shallow. You can catch a lot of fish on a floating worm, a floating trick worm, just weightless Texas rigged. I like a yellow one, a methylate one, or a black one. Those are the ones I really go with. And then, I mean, you got to have your flipping bait. And when I say flipping, I mean, you're going to want a Zoom, Z-Crawl Junior on like a 3/8, 5/16 ounce weight, trying to pitch into just isolated cover or beds that you can't see if you're in dirty water. And also, if you roll up on a fish that's actually on the bed that you can sight fish, it makes a good sight fishing bait as well.
I bet you there are a lot of people that know Wes Logan that are really surprised that he had a spinning rod in there, unless you throw a floating worm on a bait caster, but I'd expect a spinning rod to be thrown for that. So Wes Logan throwing us 3 baits out there. 2 of them, one of them's a surface moving bait, one of them's a mid-depth bait, and then one of them's a bottom bait. So you have a pretty good array there. Walk me through the St. Johns River, that first event of the season, getting your start in the elites, and it just starts with some delays and some postponements. And it wasn't probably exactly like you wanted it to start, but you had a solid event there.
Yeah, those 2 postponement days kind of put a damper on things just for everybody, not just for me. I don't want to be selfish. Everybody was ready to go to get the season kicked off. Even all our fans, I know they were ready for us to get on the water so they could watch some fishing. But as far as me goes, I didn't have that great of a practice. I thought I had one little area that I could use for one day, and then I'd have to scrap out the next day, which is kind of what happened. But I caught the fish that I caught that I weighed in the first. I didn't have that good of a bag. I think I was sitting in 13th or 14th after day 1, and I actually caught those fish pretty quick by like 10 or 11 o'clock. And my only problem that I didn't practice that well, because I found that area the last day of the tournament, and the last day of practice. I kind of ran out of time, but the other 2 areas that I had some bites in were like an hour either way, north or south. And I thought if I could hunker down that first day with 2 or 3 hours left and coil up, but I was never able to. So the second day, I went back to that area, and I don't even think I got a bite. And I ran way north, like towards Jacksonville, to a creek up there that I'd had some bites in the first day of practice. And I ran up there for 3 or 4 hours and never had a bite. It turned out to be a pretty good area way up there towards Jacksonville. But anyways, came back down, actually went back to the area I caught the fish in day 1 and was able to scratch out. I got 4 bites real quick. One of them was like a 3.5 pounder. But I had like 15 minutes left, and I went through one stretch of pads where I caught a 9 pounder the last day of practice. And I think I had like a 4 or 5 pounder roll on a swim jig and didn't get it. I had like a 3 pounder take my chunk off a swim jig. And I decided to pick up a spinner bait so they wouldn't miss it. And like my second cast, I lost an 8 or 9 pounder with 5 minutes to go. And it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. But I was still able to cut a check. But having that be the last tournament day that I've had this season is still kind of bothering me.
Wes, obviously every single rookie wants to get their season started right. You did that at the St. John's, a solid event there. Throughout the rest of the year, what event are you looking forward to? I have a couple in mind that I think that you'd probably choose off the bat, but are there any lakes that you are like, how many have you been to on the rest of the Elite Series schedule? Of those 8 events, how many of these lakes have you experienced before?
Let me think. I've been to Chickamauga a few times. I've been to Eufaula quite a few times. I was really looking forward to that tournament. That was going to be a high weight tournament for sure. I've been to Lake St. Clair in Michigan. I've been to Lake Champlain, and I believe that's going to be it. So I haven't been to the Sabine. I haven't been to Lake Fork. I haven't been to St. Lawrence, and that may be all of them. I've been to Santee 3 or 4 times too. That was going to be a good tournament as well, which we're still going to get to fish these events just at a different time of year, I talked about it with Scott the other day. I said it changed the whole dynamic of how the fish were going to get caught and who was going to do well and who wasn't, because there was going to be a bunch of guys relying strictly on sight fish, I think, where that's not even going to be close to a player. So it changed the whole dynamic of how the whole season was going to play out, I think.
Well, it obviously has thrown a wrench into a lot of different things, but it should be fun if they are in the late summer, early fall. We haven't really had many fall events in the Bassmaster Elite Series for a long time, so that'll be a cool wrench, and it'll be every single big bite there will mean a whole lot more than maybe it does in March and April because there's so many big ones ready to bite that time of the year. But before I let you go on this call, I'm going to put you on the spot, and we did a thing on social media the other day on Bassmaster's pages, and it was called This or That, and there was 2 lists. You had to choose one side or the other for each selection. I'm going to go through them real quick with you, and I want to see what you pick. So the first, this or that, Texas rig or jig?
Jig, 100%.
Shaky head, drop shot?
Shaky head.
Jerk bait, swim bait?
Jerk bait.
Shallow fishing or deep fishing?
Shallow.
Of course. Green pumpkin or watermelon red?
Black and blue.
Black and blue. Okay, there we'll go this, that, or another choice. And I'm going to leave you with one last one. A 10-pounder or a 30-pound limit?
30-pound limit all day.
30-pound limit. For folks at home, what is your biggest bass of all time?
It's actually a 915 that I caught at the St. John's in 2014 in a BFL regional.
So you probably like to catch that 10-pounder, but if we had to pick and choose, 30-pound limit it is. There it is, Wes Logan, a little bit of this or that, some Elite Series talk, and a brightful future for this Elite Series rookie. Wes, thank you for joining us on Skype today.
Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate you being here, and I'm looking forward to getting the season back going.
That was Wes Logan, Bassmaster Elite Series rookie, trying to get his rookie season underway here. A great start at the St. Johns River, looking to qualify for that 2021 Bassmaster Classic. A little bit of insight on him. Follow him on social media and follow the rest of the Elite Series pros as we get ready to get our season underway in just a little while.